Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Daria if you're new here, and today's practice is called Mellow Mood. So for the month of August, the monthly theme that I've chosen to focus on for these classes is exploration. And I think that exploration has to begin from a more mellow place. In order to be able to explore, we have to take some of the pressure of expectation or of outcome off of the practice or of our lives, off of the mat. And so today's class is sort of an introduction to this idea. Just to kind of mellow out, this would be a great flow to practice first thing in the morning to get into your body and your breath and let your mind settle. So all that you'll need is yourself and a space to move, and whenever you're ready, let's get into it. We'll get started on our bellies in Sphinx pose. So find your way there. Lower your elbows down to the mat. As you walk your feet back behind you, soften the tops of the feet and the thighs to the earth. And then as you begin, just allow your hands and your fingers to spread and soften into the earth beneath you. And let the base of your rib cage soften as well. So we're starting in more of a passive Sphinx today rather than activating. We'll get into some activation in just a bit. Start to breathe deeply, especially through your chest. Think of the breath rising from the low belly so you can feel the belly button pressing into the earth as the breath rises. Then breathe between the ribs, and then as the breath rises to the heart space, let it spread through the collarbones laterally. And when you exhale, let it go. Let something soften and relax even more. You can close your eyes, and if it feels good, you might even tuck your chin a little down towards your chest, letting the head fall heavy into gravity. Big, full inhale breath. And this time, let your jaw fall and release the breath out through your mouth. Big sigh. Again, like that, inhale, fill all the way up. Open the heart. Exhale, sigh. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. And then begin to gradually fade in Ujjayi breath, breathing in and out through your nose. And allow the sound of the breath to be like ocean waves, ebbing in and out, creating a soothing sort of soundtrack for your practice. And there's a slight constriction in the back of your throat. Keep your lips sealed, but try to keep your mouth relaxed and your cheeks and your whole face soft. If you closed your eyes, blink them open and begin to hug your hands a little toward each other as you simultaneously pull your elbows back a bit towards your hips. And as we begin to activate, still allow the activation to stay pressure-free. Feel your shoulder blades drawing together and press your pelvis down as your heart reaches forward like a spotlight shining to the top of the mat. And a couple more breaths right here, in through the nose, out through the nose. Press the tops of your feet and your toenails straight down. Create a little bit of a lift through your low belly. Big breath in. As you exhale, release your heart all the way down to the mat and glide your hands back so that they come under the shoulders. Keep your left palm rooted and then stretch your right arm off your mat to the side so that it extends straight out from your shoulder. Press down and then roll to the outer edge of your right hip. Drop the left toes back behind you and allow your head to rest to the earth. Feel your chest and the right shoulder beginning to open. Spreading breath through any of the areas where you're encountering tension. Notice if there's a tendency for the legs to engage or for the toes to clench. And if so, Spread breath there, so these places can soften as well. You can stay here, and maybe you shift your hips a little further toward the left side of your mat, and then glide your right foot all the way up so that your knee comes to the sky. Legs are parallel. You can stay here, or if it feels good, begin to make circles into the left arm, reaching all the way around and back, and then back forward. Big circles. Like you're moving through water, create a little resistance for yourself, and feel free to explore with your fingertips. Spread the fingers wide and feel the air as it rushes between them. Maybe you bring a cactus into the elbow, stretch your heart a bit more. And then release the right foot back down so the leg draws towards straight if it wasn't. Roll to your belly softly like a wave crashing to the beach, and we'll switch sides. The right palm anchors beneath your shoulder, left arm goes wide, press down, and then roll to the left side of your body as you step the right toes off the mat behind you. And adjust as needed so you find the spot where you're feeling that really sweet sensation of opening into the front of the left shoulder and the chest. And let your body surrender to gravity here. Try to notice if there's anything that's resisting gravity. This is the urge to clench or to tense. Stay here, or you can play with gliding the sole of the left foot flat to the mat as well. You can shift your hips a bit as you need. And then if you did so on the first side, or if it feels good now, make some big circles with the right arm, reaching all the way up, around to the back, and then sweep your arm forward to begin another circle. And then extend both of your legs back long, roll onto your belly, and find your way back up to a sphinx. So the elbows will glide forward about an inch or so in front of your shoulder. And then from here, breathe in, pull the elbows back toward your hip bones, lift your heart. As you breathe out, roll to the outer right hip. Bring your right forearm so that it's parallel to the top of the mat, and step your left fingertips in front of you. And then begin to settle down a bit into the right shoulder so that your right ribs can expand, and take your gaze back toward your toes. And feel opening into the side body. If you're not feeling enough sensation here, press into the left fingertips and come up to the right palm, and then soften down into what you feel from this more elevated space. Imagine that your right ribs could fan open. You can keep a little bend in your knees. One more breath here. And if you lowered up to the palm, go ahead and release your right forearm back to the mat, parallel to the top, and then step your left foot in front of your right thigh. Leave just a little bit of space between your heel and the top of your thigh, about a fist's width distance. And then flex your right toes so that the knife edge presses firmly to the earth. Use your left fingertips and your right ones to begin to lift your outer right hip away from the mat. You're stamping down flat through the sole of the left foot, and then sweep your left fingertips all the way up toward the sky. Big inhale here, lift your hips high, and then exhale softly, sweetly, lower your right hip all the way back down to the mat. Left fingertips come forward, and the left foot goes back to stack over the right. And now come all the way down to your shoulder. So right shoulder to the mat and the elbow. Cradle your head with your right palm. Bend your left knee and see if you can hook your big toe with the peace fingers, thumb, middle, and index. Inhale. As you exhale, start to kick your foot straight up toward the sky, maybe extending the leg all the way toward straight. And pull back on your toes, but press your toes into your hands at the same time. Cinch your left waist and maybe glide your leg in just a bit closer toward your head. Big inhalation. Exhale, stay, pull in. And then gently release, but go slow like the leg is moving through water. Glide the left toes all the way back down for 3. For 2, extend past your toes for 1, and then roll onto your belly. Take a breath in Sphinx. And as you exhale, we'll roll to the second side. I'm gonna flip so that you can see. So the left elbow comes down parallel to the top of the mat. And step your right fingertips in front of your belly. Then allow yourself to soften down into the left side body, expanding there, little contraction into the right waist. If you like, option 2, press into right fingertips, lift the left elbow and come to the palm, maybe feeling even more sensation from this lifted space. Sweeten the breath. Big inhale. Stay for the exhale. Settle down a bit deeper into the left shoulder. And then if you lifted up to the palm, you can sink the left forearm back to the mat. Extend your toes behind you and then step your right foot in front of the left thigh. Press straight down into the knife edge of your left foot, flexing the toes. Stamp the right foot into the earth, right fingertips and the left forearm. And then float your hips up and away from the mat. Press down to lift a little higher. Right fingertips extend to the sky. You can follow them with your gaze. One more inhale, squeeze the left side body. And as you exhale, slowly lower the hips all the way back down to the mat. Extend your right toes back. And come all the way down to the left elbow. Grab for the back of your head with your hand, or let your head rest into your hand. And then reach your right knee in toward your ribs. Flex your foot and hook the big toe with the peace fingers. Keep digging the knife edge of your left foot down for stability. And then begin on an exhale to stretch your right leg all the way up toward the sky. Pull back on your toes, but then press forward from toes to fingers. Smooth the breath up and down the back line of the right leg, into the hamstrings, the calf, the Achilles tendons. You can explore and play with pointing the foot or flexing the foot and see how the sensation changes depending on what action you're taking. Big inhale. Exhale, release your grip. Right fingertips can come down in front of you, and then slowly lower the right toes all the way back down for 3, for 2, and 1. Good. Roll all the way back onto your belly. Plant your palms and make your way up to hands and knees, tabletop. And begin to move intuitively, maybe finding some cat-cows in the spine, inhaling to soften the front body and contract the back body, and exhaling to round in, driving belly button up to the spine, dropping the tailbone and relaxing the head. And you can begin to make any kind of circular motion, breathing between the ribs, opening the hips. Maybe spin your fingertips to point in a different direction or come up to fingertips. Anything that feels good in your body. Let it be slinky and snaky and free, pressure-free. Find your way back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes. As you breathe in, lift your tailbone, reach your heart forward between your arms. And then as you exhale, keep the curves in the spine. Glide your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, come forward with a rounded spine, hollow the core, hands and knees. And then exhale, lift your tailbone, claw down into your fingertips. Imagine someone's pulling your hips back, but your hands are like glued down to the earth in front of you, so the heart has to reach long. Inhale, round your spine, wash forward like a wave. Exhale, recede all the way back, hips toward the heels. And this time, lift up onto the fingertips. Start to crawl your fingertips forward. Shift your torso forward until you can relax either the heart and the chin or the forehead to the mat for Anahatasana puppy pose. And let the breath get mellow. Let the hip creases deeply, deeply relax. So the low belly spreads with breath. The feet are relaxed. Hands continue to hug just slightly toward each other. But even in the little bit of activation, see if you can find the ease. Soften your eyes and your forehead. Press down into your palms and then walk your fingers all the way back in towards your pelvis. Bring your toes to touch, widen your knees, and then start to shift your hips back towards your heels. You can walk the palms back just slightly. We'll just play a few times with widening the knees, reaching your pelvis forward, and then gliding the hips back toward the heels. Make sure to keep breathing, exhaling as the hips come back. One more time. Opening the hips and widening the knees only as much as they'll go without introducing a lot of force. Then start to walk your fingertips all the way in towards your pelvis. Come up onto fingertips. And as you inhale, stick your butt back, pull your fingertips back, reach your heart forward and arch. Then when you exhale, tuck your tailbone, hollow your core, create a little round in your spine, drive the belly button in and back. Then inhale, tilt your pelvis back, stretch your heart forward, keep the knees surrendered to gravity. And then exhale, tilt through the pelvis, hollow the very low belly, lift your pelvic floor. Inhale one more time, arch your back, stick your butt out, and exhale, curl in. Bring your knees back together, walk it out all the way back to your belly. Elbows down, toes glide back behind you, tops of the feet come down. We'll move into half frog, so both elbows root. The top of the left foot stays down, and then glide your right knee out toward the side of the mat so that it's aligned with your pelvis. You can flex through the right ankle so the inner side of the foot is pressing down to the mat. You might stay right here, or you might press into your palms and lift the elbows and maybe walk the hands in and back toward your pelvis. If you notice any compression into your low back, come down a little bit. Also, to help keep this out of the low back, lift your pelvic floor, the very base of the pubic bone, like it's magnetized up toward your heart. Whether you're on elbows or on hands, pull back slightly so that the heart can reach forward. And then maybe you extend all the way out to the side through the right foot and see if you can bring the whole sole of the foot flat to the mat. One more big breath in. And on your exhale, release all the way back down to your belly. Glide your right toes back behind you. Come up onto the left elbow as you kick your right heel in towards your sitting bone. And then reach to grab for the foot from the outside, maybe. Or you can take the heel of your hand to the roots of your right toes and then spin your fingertips forward to the top of the mat. Stay on the elbow, or you can press all the way up so the left forearm will lift. Big breaths into the front of your right thigh. Check if your mind is expecting or asking for any certain intensity level in your stretch. And then maybe challenge that expectation. Sometimes actually it serves us better to find a lesser degree of intensity and see what subtle layers exist. And in doing so, achieving a really deep inner body awareness. Big breath in. Big breath out, spread it through any tightness in the right thigh. Release your right toes long and back behind you. Come back to your forearms if you weren't there. And then glide your left knee out to the side for half frog on the second side. Elbows pull back, heart stretches forward, left ankle is flexed. Stay or press down into the palms, lift the forearms, and maybe walk the hands in. Here, the hips are heavy, but the heart is light and bright. If you did so on the other side, you can play with extending the left leg all the way out laterally and try pressing the pinky side of the foot down as well. Just notice how the sensation changes with the subtle adjustments that you can make. And feel free to play and explore and find what feels good in your own body. Everyone's different. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, lower all the way back down. Belly, heart, chin, and stretch your left toes all the way to the back of the mat behind you. And then kick your heel in towards your sitting bone. Magnetize your inner thighs just a bit, and then keep the right elbow rooted as your left arm sweeps around to grab for the foot. Maybe you stay here for a couple of breaths. Maybe you press into the right palm and lift the elbow. And maybe you take the heel of your hand to the roots of your toes, spin the fingertips forward, and then find your stretch here. Inhale. Exhale, release your foot, come all the way down to your belly, elbows down. Plant into your right palm, slide your left arm under, and then roll to lie on your back. Soften the back of your head to the mat. Widen your arms out to the side, and then with the heels pulled close in towards your sitting bones, windshield wiper both of your knees toward the right. We'll stay here, pause, and see if you can grab for the top of your left foot or ankle with the left hand. And then hug your heel in closer toward the sitting bone to create a quad stretch. Press your hips a little bit forward like you're tucking the tailbone under. Smooth the breath. Let the breath be completely velvety and fluid so that there's nowhere along the inhale or the exhale where it gets caught or feels jagged. Start to release. You can wiggle your left toes a little bit out and then take your knees all the way over toward the left side of the mat. Just let them surrender to gravity first. Then reach to grab for the top of right foot with your hand maybe and pull the heel in close toward your sitting bone. And keep pressing the pelvis forward. You can adjust the width of your knees as you need. And then try to go in and really feel all the unfolding. Slowly begin to make your way back to lying on your back with the knees stacked over the ankles. And press the feet down into the earth. Take your hands down beside you with the palms flat to the mat. Then press into your feet to bridge your hips up toward the sky. Let this be a gentle bridge. Press the upper arms a little bit together underneath you. And then lift your lower arms, your forearms, and bring the heels of your hands to your sacrum. So you're cradling the pelvis in your hands. Shoulders walk deeper together underneath you. Then allow the weight of your pelvis to really sink down into the hands. Spread your breath through the low belly, all the way into the
the whole front line, like a big massage. Everywhere the breath touches, opens, softens, and melts. Notice if you're actually relaxing the weight of your pelvis into your hands, and if you're not, see if you can do so now. Press through your feet, activate your glutes slightly to lift the hips, release the arms, palms back down to the mat, untuck your shoulders and roll down your spine one vertebra at a time. Hug your knees in tight toward your chest and make some circles with the knees, widening them out, then draw them together at the chest. And go in one direction and then reverse. And then draw everything in nice and tight. Wrap the forearms around the shins. Take a breath in as you contract your core. And as you exhale, float down into Shavasana. Let yourself be like a leaf that's fallen from a tree into a stream. And so you're flowing effortlessly with the current. You're not having to do any work to hold yourself up. You're just surrendered to gravity, fully softened, fully relaxed. Start to spread your awareness back through your body like a warm golden light. Deepen your breath, full inhale all the way up to the chest and the collarbones. Full exhale. And touch your thumb to each finger pad individually. Roll one ear toward the mat and then the other. And then stretch out long, arms back, toes forward. Inhale. Exhale, you can come to fetal pose, or you can just roll up to a seat from your back, however feels good for you. We'll all find our way back to Sukhasana. So if you're in fetal pose, press into the palms, try to keep the eyes softly closed, and rise up to a seat. Let the hips melt. Palms can face up or down on your thighs, and then lengthen through your front body, your back body, and your waistlines, both sides of the body. Crown of head is stretching to the clouds. Take a moment to feel the effects of your practice, any sort of mellow buzz or energy or openings that have occurred, to allow space for more exploration in the rest of your day. And
And set an intention for yourself to, in some way, take the pressure off today. Maybe in your work life or your personal life, or even just an inner expectation that you have of yourself. Not in a way that feels sort of lazy, but more in a way that allows you to experience the more subtle layers and to get curious about your experience rather than forcing something to happen. Bring your palms to meet at heart center. Take a breath in, lift the heart toward the thumbs. And as you exhale, bow your chin in towards your chest. Namaste. Thank you so much, as always, for sharing your practice and your space and your time with me today. I hope that felt good for you. You can let me know how you're feeling, or if you have any thoughts or comments, leave them down below. And you can also subscribe to my channel down below. That really helps to support me. And we have a lot of fun explorative practices coming up for August that I'm excited about. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you very soon. Bye.